Late, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod the Name's Burley, Twadwazzle, Jason Hornsby, JMails24, Unimento, Iron26, Endless, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand across to whoever's in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Hi guys, hope everything's all right.
Good.
I attempted this particular video as my first attempt. There was an issue with the audio. Anyway, we'll get past that and we'll move on. Okay, this photo, right? This is hotly contested, right? When it shouldn't be, but it is. I have a lot of issues with this photo and the original information that came out about it, etc., etc., etc. I'm looking into some stuff at present, like I was in the past, but now I'm looking into it in a different way. Probably the way I should have done originally. Either way, this is what we're talking about today, up to a point. Okay, you'll see what I mean. First of all, I'm going to address something. In recent days, past 48 hours, a baller has come out with a video. And this is what they always do. We're just going to show you his video. This is supposed to be displaying this observation on a globe, right? But what you'll notice is he's using parallel verticals and a horizontal. Now, they don't exist on a globe. There's no horizontals, there's no verticals, there's no parallels, there's no straight lines on a globe. What he should have there is a tangent, right? So he's not displaying this honestly. This guy has become very dishonest. This guy, what's his name, Petey, has become very dishonest. And like this kind of stuff is like, this is not the display of that observation on a sphere Earth. It is not. You don't have parallel verticals. You don't have vertical at all, because what you have is zeniths that are diverging from a center point, and you don't have a horizontal either. Now, I display it correctly in my own video. Now, I'll link this one in the description. This is it displayed correctly in my own video, right? I'll link this video in the description as well. My one is called Blackpool Photo Globe Downfall, right? And you'll be able to see me go through the details in my own video and show it correctly, as it should be geometrically correct for a globe. With the exception of I give them angular size. I only do that just to show some, just to make a point within the video. It's angular size and perspective doesn't exist within that paradigm. If you understand our maths, which is orthographic, as we're showing here, and as I show here, it's all orthographic. There is no perspective involved. There's only or curve or not or curve. That's all I have. So long story short, this is not geometrically displayed honestly and correctly, and I know this observer knows better. And just to show how dishonest it is and how correct I am, I'm going to go to Metabunk, right? Here's Metabunk. As you can see, Metabunk use a tangent, right? Just like I use, right? They call it surface level. There is no surface level tangent. Technically, they use 911 as surface level. They're using a flat Earth, but for the geometry, they must use a tangent. So this lower serrated line has to be viewed as a tangent by them, right? And as you can see, right, this line here, which is the observer, right? I'll make it bigger, right? And this line here, right, is divergent from each other, as they have to be, because they're coming in to meet a center point on a sphere. Now, if Petey, the guy, the baller, was going to display the observation correctly on a globe, then he has to use a tangent and he has to use divergent zeniths. Now, we can't add in angular size because that doesn't exist in the maths. There's no angular size shown in here, as you can see. This is the maths, no angular size. But I added it in just to make a point, and now and again I will do that. Point being is that Petey, the lad from earlier, he did not display it like this. He displayed a line like this and a line like that, and he displayed this line up here. It's like, you can't do that. Like, you must display it correctly for a globe, which is with diverging zeniths, not parallel verticals and a horizontal. You don't have a horizontal, you have a straight line tangent that's meeting a sphere or a circle at one point. That's correct geometry. It's not a horizontal because it doesn't hold a horizontal orientation. Is it horizontal now? It's horizontal now? It's horizontal now? No. Where is it horizontal? It can't be. There's no horizontal or vertical possible on a globe. You can have a straight line tangent, and you can have a 90-degree line from the center of the sphere or circle meeting that straight line tangent. You can make it 90 degrees either side of that, but you can't call that, this serrated line here, you can't call that a horizontal, and you certainly can't call that a vertical. But as I showed right within, where do we go? I'm at going to the wrong place. As I showed within, like, this guy is not displaying it. This is not a display. This is not an honest display in any way. And you have all the usual people in his chat or in his comment section, cheering him on and everything. I left a comment there. The usual rubbish, not displaying it correctly, and totally not displaying a flat Earth correctly. The whole thing is incorrect, and the whole thing is dishonest. He changes the sizes, he literally pumps them up by 4, changes the ratio, all this kind of stuff. Doesn't matter. The point is, this is not what the person is observing. They're not looking at a side-on observation, are they? In this is not side-on. This is frontal perspective, right? Whereas this man has displayed it side-on, right? And it's a straw man position because you can't determine anything from side on, because side on is not what we see in reality. Now, for their globe, it can only be displayed side on because their globe is orthographic. All their Orcurve maths are orthographic, so you can only display it side on. Right? That's the way it can be displayed. You can't show their globe in reality because it doesn't exist. It's that simple, right? This is reality. This is a flat Earth. Now, I have more coming on this in the future. I'm in contact with some people, some professional people. Hopefully I have more coming on this in the future. There's a lot goes in. There's more going into it. But it doesn't matter because I'm just going to destroy this now again anyway. Right? So the idea in the future won't matter because this is already destroyed. I destroyed this as well with my perspective challenge. Something else I will show I will leave in the description. It's a perspective challenge involving Blackpool, this Blackpool photograph, and a drone. Something else that's mentioned in, where is he? This guy Petey's video, and he does a really, really bad, as I show he's already dishonest, he does an even more dishonest version of that. So you can watch his video. His video is only about 4 minutes long. My video is a bit longer, obviously. It's like, my video is like half an hour, but I really go into details with it. So the point being is that you can see me display it correctly. I display it just like Metabulk display it. That's what I do. So I display it correctly with tangent, divergence, and that's how you're supposed to display these things for a globe. Now, on to this, right? Here we have this photograph, right? So, like, the thing about this photograph is they're trying to claim that this is geometric Orcurve, that we can't see, that the reason that the mountain appears lower than the tower is because of, if we go on the details of the observation, this shouldn't happen, according to the details of the observation. Now, that's not true, right? When you take in the perspective effect of visual occultation, something they can't address or take in. And they've proven this over the years, that they can't deal with that any perspective effect, and they especially can't deal with photographic, or also known as visual occultation, because it kills their stupid claims. Like, this is obviously on a flat earth. Couldn't be any more obvious. But they want to say that the mountain appears lower than the tower for the observer when the mountain is 5 times higher, so it should be higher. Like, it's nonsense. Now, there's a lot I have a problem with this photograph and the official details that we got. And none of those, like the actual observation position was never verified. Like, someone can say, I was here, or that person was there, whether the photographer says they were in a particular position, or someone else says the photographer was in a particular position. It means absolutely nothing. You must verify your position, right? You must verify it. I mean, the standard for a flat earther and the standard for a globe earther are so different, because flat earthers must verify absolutely every single part and bit of what they're doing at any time, whereas globe earthers just can get away with saying, oh, I was just here, or saying that someone else, even if the person that took the photograph, like the guy who took this photograph, he may not have directly said that he was just anywhere. The people around him, like that we deal with, or not around him, but the people we deal with, might have just said, he was just there. Do you know what I mean? So there's no solid information that you can really verify concerning his observation position. Now, I have issues with his observation position, but it doesn't matter. As I said, if you watch my perspective challenge video, this was the very first thing I said first day concerning this photograph. It's 3-4 years ago. The very first thing I said is the very thing that the challenge is about. And I only made that particular video a year ago, or maybe a bit over, but this issue with this photograph is going back a couple of years. But it's only an issue because the people we're dealing with are dishonest, as I show. Completely dishonest. So the only reason this is an issue is because we're dealing with a lot of either people who are dishonest or people who are just outright boneheads. There's only 2 options. You're either dishonest or you're a bonehead. You have to take your choice, because you're not honest. You know what I mean? You either can't understand simplistic things, or you can, but you're willing to be dishonest about it, as this man and the people who support him are, right? So, moving on, right? That you can go into the description of this video, and you'll see those videos. Let's just destroy this again, because I've destroyed this in the past. Let's destroy it again, right? Now, this is going to totally annihilate it. Okay, I look for photographs from Liverpool to the Blackpool Tower, right? Now, photographs from Liverpool to Blackpool Tower are as follows. Here's the first photograph. This is taken from the top of the Liverpool Cathedral, right? So, as you can see, now there's actually a bit of cloud here, right? So it's hard to see the top of the mountain. That's actually Dale Craig there behind, right? Over here behind. It's actually in a straight line from where they would be looking. It's basically in a straight line from the cathedral. Maybe a little bit off, but it's basically in a straight line. So if I go and just get a line, right? There's the top of the tower, right? The mountain is up here somewhere. The point being is, if this is on a globe, the mountain has to be gone, because this is over 66 miles away to Dale Craig. So the top of Dale Craig has to be gone down even lower. It can't be gone up. It can only go up appear to go up due to the effect of photographic occultation, which I spoke about earlier and is in my perspective challenge video, right? What that is that if you're in Manhattan, for instance, or you're in New York Harbor and you're looking at the Statue of Liberty, and you're closer to the Statue of Liberty is obviously not as high as the One World Trade Center, but depending on your position, it can appear as if it's this foreground object, a smaller foreground object, can completely obscure or partly obscure a much higher background object, simply due to perspective, the effect of visual, or what's known as photographic occultation. And this was my point, and this is what I said, right? This is what it's in my challenge. It's what I said the very first day. It's what I said the very first day about this photograph here, that it's visual occultation is what's causing this, right? And it was obviously ignored. But this proves it, because when you go to Liverpool, which is further away, now this is from a higher elevation. Now, we don't know what the actual correct elevation was here. We only know a claim. That's all we have. But it doesn't matter. The point is, if we just take it as read, whatever rubbish they want to talk about or claims they want to make concerning this photograph, as in observation, position, and elevation, this is further and higher, for definite, right? So you can see that the top of the mountain, I don't know where the top of Del Craig is, it could be up here, because I can't see it with the cloud. But the point being is that it's way higher than the top of the tower, right? So what's changed? Is it because the person got further away? No, it's not directly just because the person is further away. Obviously, it's a different person, but it's not because the person's further away. It's because they've rose up in elevation. So their angle their angle of view to the top of the mountain is not being occulted in any way by the tower, right? So they can see the tower and the top of the mountain, right, or at least the top of some of the mountains, and it's obvious that the tower is way lower than it, right? So I just zoom in a second just to show, right? There you have it, right? So just so you can see that the top of the mountain is up here somewhere. Point being is that all this is higher than the tower, as is in reality. On a globe, sorry, I shouldn't have got rid of that line, right? On a globe, that is going to be further down because it's going to be lower. You will see more from a higher elevation on a globe or a flat plane, but this mountain cannot go up. It can only go down in the distance, especially from a further distance, right? You can see more from higher elevation, right? As in you see more 3D, as in you see like this hill here, these hills that go over here down to what's the name of the place? Boris, is it Boris? I can't remember the name of the place, but it's down over here across the bay from Blackpool. Right? In this observation, they nearly look like they're part of the mountains, but because the person is higher, even though they're further away, you can see that they're obviously not. They're in the foreground of the mountains, blah blah blah, and that's all involved in photographic occultation too, right? That's all because they are also occulting your view of the mountain, changing your angle to the mountain, blah blah blah, right? But point being is this mountain is obviously higher from further away and a higher elevation. That can't happen on a globe. If we're on a globe, that can't happen. But this is exactly what I state will happen, and it happens because of perspective. The only reason we're seeing this, right, mountain appearing lower than the tower from this position is because of perspective, right? So perspective doesn't exist in globe mathematics, in our curve maths. There is only our curve or nothing else, right? Perspective is one of the things that was hijacked, right, by our curve mathematics. So that's one of the things they must hijack. The main thing they must hijack is perspective, but also they hijack some other things. But the point being is that, right, if we were on a globe, then geometrically, that mountain, the top of that mountain can only be down here somewhere, right? It has to be lower than this, right, from that distance. Even though the person is higher up, it has to be lower. So let's go on to another one, right? This is another one taken from, this is taken from the same top of the Liverpool Cathedral. So I just zoom in a bit, as you can see. Right, sorry now. Right. Now, once again, there's a lot of cloud cover. So this is Del Craig over here, I'm pretty sure. From the cathedral, Del Craig is slightly to the right. And if I just get another line here, right? As you can see, there's the top of the tower, and the top of Del Craig is up here somewhere. Now, this is exactly what we'd expect to see and what you will see in reality, and this is what you will see over a horizontal plane of reference with vertical heights above and below that horizontal plane of reference, that plane of reference being mean sea level, and that mean sea level being the flat earth we speak of. So there is no arguing with this. This is what we can't see. This can't be a globe. We can't get further away and the mountain be bigger.
Took him 17 minutes to get there. But yeah. Measured flat, described flat, calculated flat, and then called a globe. Right on, Brian.
You know what I mean? The whole point of our curve maths is that you get further away and the mountain will go further down. No matter how high, you can go up high in the air, but if you take in the distance and the height, that mountain must be only about here. right? If I'm just going to get a line for the, right, that mountain, right, is about there, right? That's where that mountain can be. And that's excluding, obviously, not adding in angular size change of the visible part above our curve, because that doesn't exist. But now and again, I will do that just to show how ridiculous it is. If I added in angular size change with that, the mountain would be off there. Maybe you wouldn't even see it at all. But the point being is that it'll be down lower, even though it's from a higher elevation. It's because it's from a further distance, right? So you must be. So there's no. All this just doesn't fit a globe. It's all completely wrong. And I'm going to show it all in a second. So here we are, as I said again, totally not fitting a globe, fitting a flat Earth, as it can only fit because we live on a flat Earth. There is no globe, there is no sphere, there is no heliocentric outer space. None of these things exist. So there is no force of gravity or general relativity or any rest. It's all rubbish. And there is only the flat, stationary, enclosed, self-automated dynamic system that we actually do live in, and was created by a creator who also created us and whatever else. But obviously, we have people on the opposing side who want to be dishonest and then try and character assassinate us when they're being straight out dishonest. So it's hard to deal with dishonesty. Everyone knows that. Even dishonest people know that. So let's go on to the next photograph. Right? So this is again from the Liverpool Cathedral. Right, so as far as I know, this is again from the Liverpool Cathedral. So I'm just going to zoom in, right? And some of these are a little bit pixelated, a little bit old, but you can see, I'll just zoom in a little bit just because they take away the pixelation. Actually, yeah, it's a bit too pixelated. It's easier from back here. And once again, we have the tower here and Dale Craig up here, right? And the other mountain up there. So once again, now obviously there's different cameras they're using, and different cameras will give you different observations. That's another thing about this. Like a different camera will give you a different observation as well from that wherever position the photographer was in. It depends on the focal length of the camera and other things, that come into
I wonder if Brian knows this image is a composite.
play. My mouse has gone funny on me. Connection lost. Sorry, let's get this back. It does that now and again. So these things do come into play and they are important. But obviously, when you're completely dishonest, like these people here, then you must ignore all those kind of things and just be straight out dishonest. So here's the top of the tower. Here's Dale Craig, right? Dale Craig will be down here somewhere if the Earth was a globe, right? There'd be no way around it. It'd have to be way down here. And if, right, it's even hard to even say where it will be because the Earth's just not a globe. You know what I mean? We can't lend ourselves to this rubbish. It's like, it's just not a globe. End of story. You know what I mean? We've known this for years. I've known it for years. 10 years, not a globe. I mean, I don't know why it takes so many of these people on our opposing side. Like, even after 10 years, they're not getting it. But what can you do? We're dealing with people who obviously, want to cheer on this kind of rubbish, which is obviously in 180 degrees opposing the geometry of a sphere. But hey, look, what can you do? That's what we're dealing with. So then we have this photograph. Now, this is not from the top of the Liverpool Cathedral. This is from, I'm just going to show here. 1 second. Sorry, I need the other one. Please excuse me. No, this one. This is from... sorry, I don't want to do that. This was viewed from the roof of Beetham West in 2007. Beetham West is it's an apartment block, pretty upscale, I think, apartment block just near the docks in Liverpool. Now, the reason I'm using this photograph and not one of the ones from the Liverpool Cathedral, and I'll go back to that in a second. That's just when it was in 2007, July 31st or something. Or sorry, in 2007. It was uploaded in 2018 or whatever, right? I don't know if it's anything to do with this man here, so I'm not going to put it on him. This is some of the details of this photograph. The reason I'm using this photograph and not one of these, right, is because, or this one, which looks really good, is because the Liverpool Cathedral has two elevations. One is 115 meters and one is 55 meters. Now, I'm not sure which one. It looks like the photographs were possibly taken from the 55 meter one. I'm not sure. But the point being is that the Liverpool Cathedral, because it has two different elevations, I didn't know which one to use, right? And so instead I used this Beetham West, right? Beetham West Tower, apartment block tower in Liverpool, which is actually more in line with the Dow Craig and the Blackpool Tower, and it's 105 meters high, which is 344.4 something feet, 344.5 feet, right? That's what it is. It's 105 meters. So it would be 10 meters lower than the Liverpool Cathedral's highest point. But as I said, I don't know if people were taking the observation from there, because it looks like you can't get up onto there.
These heights are measured off a flat surface level. They're heights above sea level, if they're accurately measured. This is the end of the discussion as far as I'm concerned. As soon as you're measuring anything, you're measuring it off a flat Earth.
It was possibly taken from the roof, which is 55 meters. So I'm using this one instead. Now, this is from 2007. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to show, right? And I'll show this model out in a second. So here is the top of Blackpool Tower. Here is the top of Dow Craig, right? Now I'm going to show this now in GeoGebra on a globe, right, what it's going to be. And I'm going to use the same geometry as Debunk. So there's no argument. I'm using the correct geometry, unlike, this person who's not using the correct geometry, who's trying to be dishonest and have a load of people in these comments and liking these videos and pumping them up when the guy is completely dishonest. He's a liar. Right? He's trying to deceive people there, right, who don't know any better. So I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to be honest, because honest is the only way to go, as I always am. So here you can see, once again, just as I stated concerning perspective, when you rise higher, the background object, will appear to rise up and the foreground object will appear to go down. Now, if the background object is bigger than the foreground object, depending on its distance, right, it will, if you rise up, it actually will rise above the foreground object. Just like you see in drone footage when it goes straight up, suddenly it's basically like what the horizon appears to rise up with the camera. It's kind of a little bit like that, right? So the horizon can appear down here, let's just say, and you rise up, and we remove the mountain, let's just say this is the horizon. And as you rise up, suddenly the horizon appears to rise up. Now, it's not really rising up, it's only an appearance. Purely a perspective issue, whatever. Now, I'm not making any claims about what the horizon is, I'm just saying that it's purely a perspective issue. And obviously, optics come into what the horizon is. I'm just saying that, for me, the horizon is, just as a little sidebar, is a bit of a mystery. It's a little bit like the celestial bodies. It kind of does things sometimes that are bizarre. So it's a little bit of a mystery, but we do know optics are directly involved in the creation of it. So as you rise up, if you're down on the ground level, the horizon is going to appear like this. As you rise up in the air straight up, the horizon is going to appear to rise, and it's going to stretch out further. So before you know it, it's nearly like the tower will appear flattened nearly to the rest of the land, and the horizon will have appeared to rise up above the tower. You can see this in drone footage and helicopter footage of Chicago, for instance. You can see the sea horizon up above, like, Willis Tower, what formerly Sears Tower, which is the highest building in America. Was one of the highest in the world. You can see these things, with the horizon. So that's what the horizon does. Long story short, I'm going to use this photograph just to show that exactly what I said several years ago is exactly the truth. I'm going to show it correctly in GeoGebra for a globe. Okay, so, right, I have a tangent to I have this, right, which is this circle here, which is the 3959 globe. I have this as 105 meters above that, right? And this is a tangent to that, right? So I have two circles, right? 13959 and 13959 plus 344.5 feet or 0.4 whatever feet, right? So I have two circles, and I have this purple line is depicting, I think that's the tangent, right? To that second circle, right? So first of all, I'm going to go to Blackpool Tower. Right, where are we? Oh, sorry, Blackpool Tower, which is 28 miles away from Beetham West. So this would be Beetham West here, 105 metres, right? The roof of Beetham West Tower in Liverpool. You can go and see it. It's a big tower block. And this is Blackpool Tower. So a person would be looking on a globe over the top of Blackpool Tower, right, from a tangent, right? There's the second circle, more or less. But a person would be looking, as you can see, that'd be 344 feet. This is about 550 off of sea level, right? Blackpool Tower. Here you can see.
So as much as Brian's trying to be conciliatory to them, he's describing something off sea level in orthographic view. And he's already disclaimed, you don't see the world in orthographic view and you don't have a sea level on a globe. But, okay.
If someone would be looking on a globe over the top of Blackpool Tower, right, that would be happening, you'd understand that. Just pay attention here. As you can see, I'm just going to go in a bit, right? Pay attention here, 6041, right? Straight line across, 6041. As you can see, the M, which is the top of Blackpool Tower, is obviously above that. It's almost 604, 6041, 604.9. So, sorry, this is going up the way. But the point is that just pay attention to this 6041, right? So as you can see, that tangent to that second circle is above what would be the Blackpool Tower on a globe. And if we come back out a bit, that's 28 miles, right, as I have shown there. Then we have from Beetham West to the Dale Craig, right, which is 66.5 miles, right? Now, we're going to zoom in here. Right. Now, oops, this is could do without that. Sorry. Just at the crescendo. So if you come in here, right, as you can see, 6041 is above what will be the top of Dale Craig. Right, well above it. Right. So the point being is that the line of sight is well above the top of Dale Craig on a globe. I'm using orthographic, globe or curve mathematics. I'm using divergent zeniths, right? Not vertical, parallel verticals or horizontals. I'm using a straight line from that point of the observer, which would be directly straight from them as a tangent. And as you can see, it's above the top of Dale Craig and the tower, right? So there you have it. That is exactly proof of that. So the tower would be way higher than Dale Craig using the geometry of a globe here, and from the top of Beetham West. Right? There's no if, buts, or maybes about that. But when we come back to this photograph, obviously it's not. The mountain is obviously higher than the tower, as it should be over a flat plane. It's obviously perspective. It's obvious that the reason it appears lower here is because of the elevation of the observer. When the observer rises up in elevation, suddenly the mountain appears to rise up. Even though they're further away, it appears to rise up above the top of the tower, and the tower appears to...
Once you say elevation and heights, I don't know, I just cringe when I hear globe. I know what Brian is doing, and it is great, but it's over. Elevation, height, measurements, say goodnight.
To go down below the top of the mountain, right, as is shown in all these images, right? And from Beetham West, as I've just demonstrated, I'll zoom in to show you. It's 2007, so it's a bit pixelated. But as you can see, there's no way around this. There is the top of the tower. There is Dale Craig. There's no if, buts, or maybes. Like, the earth is flat. You know what I mean? And this is purely perspective. And the very people that want to attack us and promote something that outright denies perspective, then they try to sometimes add it in when it suits them. But in here, there's no perspective. Like here you have, there's no perspective going on here of any kind. You can't, because it's orthographic. You can't show perspective orthographically. You can change the angular size. You can bring these down to their angular sizes and different things like that. But that's the best you can do from an orthographic point of view. You cannot see anything from this in this way, as in you can't replicate a photograph. You can't replicate this photograph from that point of view, from an orthographic point of view, because we don't view things orthographically. As I've asked many, many ballers, give me a link to where on eBay or Amazon or wherever it is, right, Temu, where I can buy orthographic binoculars. You can't. They don't exist because we don't view things orthographically.
How are you?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Where's the guns?
We found the guns. I say we. I'll take full credit, even though Adam did all the work, as it should be. But Adam found that there's been a report of a Chilean interception with a guy who landed in Antarctica and hadn't gone to the process like the chaps are alleged to have done when they went down. And by down, I mean in a southward flat-only direction, to measure Earth flat and call it an experiment. Now, they did that, having filled out all the forms correctly, so they weren't turned away at gunpoint. But that chap was. I mean, it only took 6 months. I thought it'd take longer. But it's nice that we now found the guns. Meanwhile, my 103 to date repetitions of the fact Earth gets measured flat, regardless of where. I mean, Antarctica's no different. They measured Earth flat in Antarctica. That's still unaddressed. The guns got found, though, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we had a good time with it. Got a song out of it. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I noticed with the song, I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it on my own channel. I've got too many videos, and it's not like YouTube's algorithm is designed to cope with my thousands of videos on my homepage. So I thought I'll just search YouTube for it. And instead of finding Where Are the Guns, Nathan, what I find is a load of crappy bull versions of Where's the Guns, Nathan that are produced by no talent hacks. And you kind of think, this is interesting. So to mitigate for a frickin' song, they've had to produce songs under the same title that are garbage? How interesting. And the reason I bring this up is Brian and I'm exhausted. We were discussing this sort of stuff till about 2 a.m. last night. Very late for us. And
Me too.
yeah, you were there, Neil. But it wasn't very late for you. That's why I excluded you. Not because you weren't there. But Brian, myself, and indeed Neil were all discussing this. And it's the motivation behind things like Where Are the Guns? Or, to keep it specific, just Where Are the Guns? Why is it that we, flat earthers, suppressed, poor, downtrodden, why is it that we can come up with songs like Where Are the Guns? Notice it's we again. It's nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm the inspiration for it, along with McToon, but ultimately speaking, it's down to somebody with a lot more talent, musical talent, Mr. Cheswick, right? Well, Mr. Cheswick's motivation is similar to my own in this regard, right? He's not necessarily motivated by money. Now, everybody needs money. And if you watched recent Flat Earth debate shows where I'm talking about this very subject, I'm talking about people's motivation to pour scorn on us, used in metaphor yesterday in discussion format by Brian suggesting that people want to piss down your back and suggest it's raining. Now, in terms of a metaphor, for anybody dumb enough not to realise that's a metaphor for the debate itself, I would suggest that payment would be required. But that ultimately makes me seem quite mercenary, and I'm not, right? I made a decision many years ago to be financially poor and time rich. Now, as it transpires, I never ended up being time rich. I always ended up against the clock to try and keep the mortgage paid financially. You don't expect these things to work out exactly how you hoped, but my main motivation was to be at home while the kids grew up. I'd heard enough people moaning that they hadn't got to experience that when they shuffled their kids off to school and went to their 9 to 5 that meant nothing to them 20 years later. Now me, I'm lucky enough to do a 9 to 5 that isn't a 9 to 5. You know, it's from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to sleep in terms of YouTubing. But it's a job that I love. It's a job that I trained for in college. And nobody, very few people at least, can say that they love their job. I don't want to say nobody, but very few people love their job. And I can say that alongside achieving what I wanted to originally, which is be here while the kids grow up and see them, right? Experience that other people say they regret not being able to. So I've made a decision to do that. That means that I'm poor and motivated by different things. Flat Earth YouTubing is the evergreen subject that keeps me motivated to make videos. Today, I'll be honest, like ruthlessly honest, I'm utterly exhausted. I'll put myself on camera so you can see I'm not just messing around. I'm tired. You can probably see it just from looking at me. And it's a combination of doing YouTubing, microphone sales, running up and down to the shop with packages, editing the book, and then unwinding with Brian till 2 in the morning, talking about this subject that I love, Flat Earth. And I'll do it, exhaustion or otherwise, right? Because, as Brian pointed out to me, hell or high water, the show goes out, right? There are occasional exceptions to the rule, but for whatever the show's ran for 7 or 8 years, it's been a daily event that I've religiously kept the time slot for once it was established. And why? Well, because people are creatures of habit. Yeah, people, Neil will testify to this immediately, hopefully, get annoyed when their habits aren't kept in check, right? When they don't get to do their ritualistic listening to this show. Well, people don't like that. They want the ritual, and that's why I've done it in the way that I've done it. They want to see me broadcasting at 2 p.m. UK time. Or if not, they want a live stream going by on a repeat so they can interact with all of their buddies in the live stream chat. Now, I get that, and that's why I do it. But has it been hugely financially rewarding? No, not at all. It's been a right struggle. So why still do it? I get to my point, finally. Because we, Mr. Cheswick and myself in this instance, aren't necessarily motivated by the same things that your average Joe normally is. Your average Joe normally treats life like a dress rehearsal and is doing his 9 to 5 so he can get to the end result of that. You're like, what? Pay your mortgage and live? Now, I get that everyone has to achieve these things. Everyone's got to pay rent and feed themselves. But by the same token, life's not a dress rehearsal, right? This is it. So while you are doing those things, if you're utterly miserable and only doing them, that's working to live, then you're not experiencing life as it should be experienced, in my humble opinion. That's a travesty. You only get one life. Surely you should enjoy it. Surely you should get the most out of it. And surely while you're doing the most mundane of tasks, earning your crust, surely you should try and extract some enjoyment from it, given the amount of time that you dedicate to it, just to keep a roof over your head. Now, I'd rather scrape by in the work aspect, to keep a roof over my head, that is, for the sacrifice of enjoying the job and being motivated. In spite of me being my own boss, I don't have to run today's show. I could just go and have a snooze. Right? But I don't want to. I want to sit here exhausted. I want to talk to Neil. I want to talk to you, the audience. I want to communicate the Earth being measured flat as the revelation that it truly is. Sometimes it's overcome and thwart the miscommunications of our opponents who suggest that there's been currently, the rhetoric of the day, is a mass exodus over the last 6 months since the lie known as the final experiment actually flat Earth measurements after travelling in a flat Earth southerly direction, flying straight and level to a place where they've made multiple flat Earth measurements. Now, this idea is something that I can keep going with. There'll be something else in 6 months, right? Something that's slightly less laughable for the people doing it, you know, saying it's final. Maybe it'll be the same people after the final experiment. What with it being final and all? Who knows? Who cares? It's all very amusing. But we're not motivated the same way. So Cheswick, when he produced Where Are the Guns, or Where's the Guns, Nathan, the song, he's not doing it so he can turn that into 100 grand, like music revenue. He's under no apprehensions that that's suddenly going to develop a massive amount of money for him. It won't. In order for it to get a reasonable number of views, I've attached it to the homepage of Nathan Oakley 1980, knowing what that does to a video. it will generate views every time someone lands on my homepage for Where Are the Guns, Nathan. It's like that song, just from a vanity point of view, it's not even mine, deserves to have a number next to it worthy of the talent that's gone into it, Mr. Cheswick's talent. So for that reason, it's gone onto the homepage so that when someone comes across it by search, unlikely, but if they were to, or get shared it, more likely, they'll look at it, hear it, say it's catchy, and at least look down and see that there's 10,000 views or something like that after a year or so, rather than it being something with 500 views just because it's got Flat Earth in the title or Flat Earth association with it because Cheswick's made it or I'm publishing it. So yeah, it's one of those. You don't get that from somebody who's motivated for their own self-indulgence, to protect themselves from their own ignorance. That's what the anti-Flat Earthers are doing. They know the awful truth deep down and want to brace against it. Every time they hear me talking about flat Earth measurements, I mean, no doubt it makes them shudder, and they, rather than recognising that awful truth, want to shut your channel, shut me down. But it's never going to happen, right? We're motivated by different things. Like I say, their motivation, the anti-Flat Earthers' motivation, is to not look stupid. And to who? Nobody cares. People in their own little wrapped-up world think that the people around them who, sometimes me, for example, I could put McToon or Craig or Simon Dan in my title. Does that mean I've dedicated more than 20 seconds of thought to that title? Does it mean I'm sat around for the rest of the day thinking about Simon Dan? No. I'm far more concerned with me. Of course. I'm my own star in my own show, aren't I? Simon Dan has very little influence over that. But to Simon Dan, everyone's thinking about him because he's the star of his own show. So he, in his perception, thinks everyone else is looking at him. That's how people view the world. Everyone's thinking about me, everyone's talking about me. So when you see someone with, in my case, my name in their title, is the assumption that they're spending a huge amount of time thinking about me? No, on the contrary, in the case of anti-Flat Earth versus Flat Earthers, it's them projecting their pain onto me. Yeah? Me, when I'm pointing out an argument about how somebody utilises a flat Earth measurement, for the sake of argument or discussion in this case, Toon, in Antarctica, or point out that we're motivated by making good music rather than thwarting good music that has got a catchy tune to it. That's what our opponents are motivated by. They're never going to produce good quality music with that. They're never going to produce good quality arguments. And generally speaking, the material itself that they're churning out is garbage. You know, in general, fair, even playing fields, these scumbags wouldn't be getting anywhere on YouTube. They're generally fundamentally unlikable. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm the most likeable character in the world. I've been tarnished by people telling me to drink bleach for 10 years because they don't like me pointing out Earth's flat and therefore want to project their pain onto me. But that's just life, you know. Doesn't change how talented Mr. Cheswick is or how catchy Where's the Guns Nathan ended up being.
Nathan,
Yes.
I don't think it's wrong for you to take a little credit for that song, because that song would never be if you did not break tradition and go live that Sunday morning. There would have never been a phone call. It was all God ordained.
Yeah, I got buttered up a lot yesterday in this discussion, in case you can't figure this out. So Brian was telling me that some of the stuff that he's done in recent times is motivated directly by my motivation to do the show regularly. Come hell or high water, the show runs live. And Brian, it was, you know, obviously I'm blushing while I'm saying this, was telling me how that's directly motivated him. You're like, wow, that's cool. You know? And like expressed a moment ago by Neil, Where's the Guns came off the back of MC Toon ruining what was a well-orchestrated plan to the most part, right? You've corralled all these individuals into groups. You've managed to, let's say it's organic. I don't think it is. I think Jaron's a shill. But let's pretend he's not. And it organically occurred that his biggest group of people happened to be ushered into a situation where, by false dichotomy, Earth can't be flat if we see a 24-hour sun. If you want us to undress and unpack the fallacies involved, go back through any of the shows prior to TFE for us to unpack the false dichotomy on each side of... the affirming the consequent on the side of each of the false dichotomy. For globe and flat, that is. But the point is that once that's occurred, you've then got this plan where it's set in motion that those people will be disbanded. Their exodus, if you will. But then Toon comes along and decides he's going to phone me up, gets told he's measuring Earth flat, and then starts yelling about guns. I mean, he couldn't have undermined it more if he'd have tried. But that got ascribed to me because obviously it's me getting the phone call, right? So you can hardly not ascribe it to me. The title's about me because it's me that's being yelled about into the snow. But as I say, from Toon's perspective, let's take it from someone else's. From McDuffie's perspective, how infuriating is that? You've laid down this plan, you've spent all this money, you've laid out your false dichotomy, you've got a large chunk of people to buy into it. You've got flirfs ready to relinquish their own belief that they shouldn't be having. They've got measurements to go by now. But nevertheless, we were being called scammers while we were trying to point that out. But that whole group is set to be disbanded, and then Toon starts yelling about frickin' measurements, and me deflecting with them, and where are the guns? What? Oh my God. I'd be furious if I was Duffy. Wouldn't you be? Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, it's all because you went live on that Sunday. When was the last time you ever did a show on a Sunday prior to that?
I don't think I have. Maybe when the show was first running and I was figuring out which day it was, 7 or 8 years ago. But other than that, I mean, I'm self-employed. Why would I work? I don't want to work on a Sunday. I get slightly irritated once every other week because we do Ballbusters on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, this is my time with my wife that you're chewing into. However, given the level of help and dedication from someone like Quantum Eraser, it's not unreasonable to offer some back as the co-host of Ballbusters.
Anyway, it goes down as a historic day because I don't know how everybody got together. You opened the link. I guess I saw it, and everybody saw it. And it was very historic how when they went to prove a 24-hour sun for globe, they proved the flat Earth. Well done, boys.
Yeah, well done, lads. What's that? You've managed to disband people because Jaren's crowd were saying that if Earth is flat, then we can't see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Really? Who'd have thought that McToon would have ballsed it all up by saying, you tried to deflect with measurements? Yeah, that's what it's all about, though, isn't it, really? How Earth's measured. Flat in the case of these lies about experiments. They're just measurements of a flat Earth. That's all they ever were. Like levelling something to a surface perpendicular for weight. That's a flat Earth measurement. It's a prerequisite. You're levelling the tool. Now, even as they say it in their own live streams, they don't appreciate the irony of not having anything level, not having horizontal or perpendicular on a ball. That non-existent concept. They don't even get it. Me pointing it out to them will result with them projecting deflection. Now, I'm not trying to deflect with measurements when it's the literal 100th time pointing it out to McToon. How is that deflection? It's the 100th repetition. It's not a deflection, it's a fact that you can't cope with. What's that? You need to deflect to guns? Yeah. How did that work out? Did it look good? No, only 6 short months later, someone's getting taken away from the Antarctic, place you were at gunpoint. Why? Because he didn't have permission to be there. Yeah? Exactly my point 9 years ago when I made that comment that's been used in Strawman to deflect from measurements of a flat Earth that you all made down there. Down being south. South's a flat Earth direction. You got there on a plane that flew straight and level and measured its altitude with respect to sea level to remain in straight and level flight for the entire journey. Everything you did proved Earth was flat, and we pointed it out every step of the way. Well, you went, if we use the azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection of a flat Earth that used your model, and we see a 24-hour sun, well, this model, well, that won't work, so therefore Earth ain't flat. And Jaren's even confirmed it by suggesting the affirming the consequent verbally. Therefore, every person in Jaren's field and group will be disbanded upon a seeing 24-hour sun. And measuring the flat Earth elevation angle to it for a 24-hour period, said everyone at Nathan Oakley. What's that? Where are the guns? Yeah, we found them, as I said at the beginning of the show. The Chilean government aren't very pleased when people land on their bit of Antarctica without permission. And they'll escort them away. And it'll make the news. But Toon, obviously having filled out all the forms, only to go there and start yelling my name and measuring Earth flat. I mean, he didn't get met by gunpoint because he had permission to be there. So there weren't any guns for you, you stupid dickhead. What did you think you were filling out the forms for? Just stupid, right, Toon? You complete idiot. How did that work out there, that phone call to me on that Sunday? Did it work out well, or did it work out with you asking for guns that showed up 6 months later and suggesting that I was deflecting? No, you were. Deflecting from the measurements. Not to them. Not me. You. So, the flat Earth that got measured in Antarctica drew a conclusion, a finality that we will be utilising. Yeah, it wasn't an experiment, but it absolutely was final. They measured Earth flat there. What's that? Where are the guns? I don't give a crap where the guns are. You're measuring Earth flat. And it's not a deflection, it's a statement of absolute fact that you affirmed for us without me having to lift a finger. Check out the pre-show if you're a member. So we go through Brian's Logics video, where he's, to be fair, he's giving ballers more than they deserve when he starts describing flat Earth only concepts functioning for them on a ball and pointing out the use of non-perspective based orthographic mathematics that have been bastardized by anti-flat earthers like Petey. Now, I don't see how anything beyond a measurement of an elevation off a surface level can move forward in any argument. Now, that's not a criticism of Brian. Brian's intellect is stunning. It's fantastic. To be able to do that mentally, to go through those gymnastics, is beyond me. Now, Brian's not even trained mathematically. I mean, neither am I, but what I'm saying is he's not Adam. He's not a mathematician. So to jump through those hoops and to do those dances, to cognitively bend a flat plane to allow your opponent to feel like they've been given a fair crack of the whip, is a step far beyond I would ever be willing to give them. What's that? You measured your height? What, off sea level? Sea level? The level of the sea? Yeah, Earth's flat, you dickhead. You measured it flat. What's that? You measured your angle with respect to a planar surface and an angle up to the sun for 24 hours. You measured Earth flat, you numpties. You think I give a crap where the guns are? So yeah, check out Brian's video in the pre-show if you are a member. If you're not a member, maybe consider becoming a member. Get to see all this stuff. Or you can just go to Brian's channel and watch it there. Did you all enjoy Brian's video, by the way? I didn't really interrupt it much. There wasn't much interruption to be... I mean, 2 or 3 times, but there wasn't much to interrupt it with.
Yes, Nathan. I liked it.
Well, that's how yesterday's discussion that wasn't taped was ended with Brian, myself, and Neil, which is to say, Brian saying, "Can you watch my video?" And me saying, "Of course, I'll watch it tomorrow." And dutifully, I've watched it in the pre-show, so you don't get to watch it in the audience, unfortunately for you. But you can go and check out Brian's Logics channel. Thanks, son. And coffee brought to me because I'm so knackered. There might not be an after show today. I'm just too tired. It really is getting harder and harder for me, the book, watching it go through the slow process of editing it for the 4th time on the 4th draft. Just taking it out of me. Do you enjoy it, Neil, sitting watching the book editing process? Yes, Nathan. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it, Neil. For me, it's incredibly frustrating. But it will get done eventually, and the standards will be higher if it's not for the very conscientious gaze of both Quantum Eraser and the Adam Meakin. You know, there's as I've said many times, there's a layer of polish being put on the book that will make it a cut above. Anything you guys want to cover today? Hello? It seems like I'm talking to myself a little bit.
Yeah, my phone just disconnected. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Asking if there's anything you want to cover. Talking about Brian's Logics video. Talking about the help
I
that I've
wanted
got.
to go over the one I posted. I wanted to go over the one Liam posted the other day, but we didn't even go over it. We went over it on the middle, but
Where
I
is
don't
it?
know.
You mean the one from Answers in Genesis? Which
Canada.
one?
Yeah.
The one we covered yesterday? You want to carry on with the one we covered yesterday? Is that what you're saying?
You started like totally in the middle. We didn't even miss the beginning. I don't know. You know what? I don't want to cover that. Let's do something else.
I was just hoping to have a
Kind of
chit-chat.
want to.
Go on,
I had a suggestion.
feel free.
I kind of like wanted to cover the scam Antarctica from Space Busters, but it's like a 3-hour long documentary about Antarctica. I just didn't know if you guys were interested in that, but maybe get a clip of that out.
I mean,
Is that the one with Duffy doing a 24-hour thing, constantly running it on Celebrate Truth?
no. So let's just explain that to the audience. I haven't got a clue about this, but from what I glean, and feel free on the audience side to tell me if I'm wrong about this, right? For some reason, Duffy has acquired the ability to stream on Celebrate Truth, another sizable Christian channel. So, for whatever,
That's correct.
okay. So Duffy's now, I mean, is it just me or is it very incestuous with the whole sharing channels and sharing wives thing over on the bald side? What's that all about? What's
And
going
Nathan,
on?
that channel is pumping out video after video.
Yeah. About what? Fill me in. I don't watch Celebrate Truth.
About the 24-hour excrement.
Okay. So they're pumping out this. On screen now is the elevation angle measurement that Toon was yelling at the snow, my name, because of his measurement of this. It's an elevation angle measurement to the sun. That's what they took as measurements for 24 hours. It requires a flat planar surface. Here's a visual representation of the sun moving around your position for 24 hours, measured with angles off a flat plane. That's what it looks like. It's on screen now. So I get called proactively. I didn't phone them. But I get called proactively by one of the participants of TFE, the final mathematical measurement of a flat Earth with angles to the sun and perpendicular weighing of things with respect to a planar reference that's flat. Well, all of these flat Earth measurements, I pointed out that they're measuring Earth flat, and apparently where the guns are is a lot more important than this. It's on screen now. This is how they measured Earth, with angles. Now, if they're suggesting that the surface is curved, then these aren't angles and they didn't measure anything. So you can't have it both ways. Either they measured a flat Earth for the angles that they measured. That's what they did do, by the way. There's no two ways about this, yeah? It's not like I'm capable of being debunked. Toon measured the Earth flat. That's why he's yelling my name into the snow, yeah? If you don't get that yet, yeah, wait. You'll get it eventually, you bunch of dumbos. This is it. It's on screen. This is an elevation angle measurement to the sun. That's all it is. It's a flat Earth prerequisite. What's that? The ground's bending. Well, then it's not an angle measurement. It's two straight lines, you bunch of dumbos. Now, you can say, Nathan says Earth is measured flat. That's Toon's reaction so far. That was his most recent response to the 103rd rendition of me pointing out this is a flat Earth only measurement that he's made. Facts. His response was to put in quotes a misspelling of me saying Earth is measured flat. Saying Earth, E-R-F. Yeah? No, that's not a rebuttal. Yeah? It's just misspelling how I say the facts of the matter in this case and point it out diagrammatically. These are the flat Earth measurements made in Antarctica. Go ahead, Neil.
Sorry, there's so much noise here. I didn't even hear you. Just post it in chat. This one says, rest in peace, Flat Earth, and it's from Celebrate Truth, and it's Duffy. I told you, they're running it almost 24/7. Robbie Davidson has now turned into a baller channel, and he lets baller rhetoric go on all day long.
Fine. I mean, so Robbie Davidson smelling a bit shilly is what you're saying, right?
I never trusted him. I never liked him.
Welcome to the final experiments.
Final experiments with an S on the end? Duffy, do you not feel like a stupid moron? Experiments. So where's the finality? Is it in the first one? Second one? Third one? Where's the final bit coming? Yeah? Let me introduce you to the Lone Rangers.
I knew you would get a kick out
The
of that
final
beginning,
experiments
Nathan.
are a preponderance of evidence.
So where's the finality, right? There was me thinking this TFE, the final experiment, was this. Going to Antarctica, calling stuff experiments and measuring Earth flat with elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours, right? So you go to Antarctica, you measure Earth flat, you call it an experiment, and then what, when that doesn't hit home hard enough, we need another final experiment. It's the preponderance of finality. Crackhead. Are you insane, Duffy? Do you feel like a stupid shill? 'Cause you look like one, and the words pouring out your dumbass mouth make you sound like one.
Against flat Earth. And the final experiments all confirm the globe.
Do they? How do they confirm a globe when you measured elevation angles off a flat surface level? Now, if they confirmed a globe, it would mean that the surface level measured for the angles to the sun was curved and they're not angles anymore. So I'm a bit confused, Duffy. Do you want to let me know? Because I studied your experiments and they were elevation angles. I had them on screen earlier. I made it explicitly clear to my audience what you were measuring. I also told one of the participants while he was measuring them, you're measuring Earth flat, Toon. The response I got was something about guns. Now, we got to the bottom of that stupid wankery, didn't we, Duffy? Yes, someone's been recently escorted away at gunpoint because they didn't have the forms filled in like you bunch of dickheads did. Yeah, so you can fly straight and level with your altitude measured in the black box data with respect to the sea level that you flew over parallel with it in level flight. To arrive south, a destination that's only describable on a flat plane, to measure elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours off a flat plane. What's that, you confirmed globe? Well, then they weren't measurements of angles, Duffy. So are you tossing your stupid non-experiment measurement of angles off a flat plane surface to the curb because you confirmed how curvy the angle was? That sounds stupid, Duffy. You sound stupid.
These experiments were all conducted in December of 2024 when 4 flat earthers and 4 globers went on a journey to Antarctica with
the flight measuring straight and level journeys with respect to surface level. The altitude indication in all black box data for all flights always shows that Earth is measured flat. You can't fly straight and level parallel with the ground at a fixed altitude. It's called flight level, unless Earth is flat. So the journey, as was pointed out by Brian's logic, he was also on the panel when your mate down there measuring elevation angles off a flat Earth called me. Yeah, I mean, maybe you'd like to straw man what flat earthers say, but I'm pretty sure I was the only flat earther that was communicated with directly from Antarctica. So for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure you need to address what I say in regards to the deflection to measurements, end quote, Toon. He said it after calling me from the surface of Antarctica. The one he measured flat with the angles he said I tried to deflect with when he deflected to where the guns were on your pre-planned trip.
with me, Will Duffy. We spent time in Punta Arenas, Chile, which is at the southern tip of South America.
South is a flat earth only direction. Hello, numpty. Point south, you stupid batshit insane retard. South is not down. South is horizontal. Go and buy yourself a compass and look at what south does. Yeah? Are you a crackhead? Do you not know what south is? The moment you say south, you can only travel south flat. Have you never used a map, you stupid dickhead?
America before flying to Antarctica.
Yeah, on a flat plane. Again, Brian pointed this out to you personally, didn't he, Duffy? In the communication that Brian had with you that you and I have never had. Like, you've lied about communicating with me via email for invitations that I've turned down. You're a lying shitbag. Like, you will be condemned to hell for your deceit. Because that's all you do, lie. Now, you also justified to congregations of Christians that that's perfectly okay. It ain't. You're a deceitful scumbag who lies. Meanwhile, Brian has been in touch with you specifically about the journey being flat. Level flight, dum-dum.
This entire trip allowed us to conduct historic experiments.
No, you measured the Earth flat with elevation angles. That's what you actually did, Duffy. That's why it's now Lone Rangers, preponderance of final experiments, plural. You stupid dickhead. Because you measured Earth flat there. Do you not recall the sound of my name ringing around the Antarctic snow, man? Did you not hear him? Let me give you a reconstruction of what occurred. Yeah, you're measuring Earth flat there, Toon. Where are the guns, Nathan? You lied! Since 2018, you've been saying you'd be stopped at gunpoint. And you know what? Recently, they have actually stopped someone at gunpoint and turned them away. Just so we got that little stupid, insane demonstration of a madman yelling my name into the snow because I pointed out that you're measuring Earth flat there, Toon. Yeah? So, Duffy, given that you heard my name ringing out in the snow, I'm surprised you're still calling them experiments. Yeah? It was so frustrating to the person measuring them. That would be the elevation angles that are only capable of being angles if they're measured on a flat Earth. Yeah, he yelled my name and talked about guns. I'm pretty sure you heard him.
And collect data firsthand from an area of the world that few people will ever have the opportunity to visit. And
I didn't need to. I mean, I got told firsthand while it was occurring that there was flat Earth elevation angle measurements being made. Let me show you what an elevation angle measurement looks like. Like this. Every time you see a number with a degree after it, when they describe the angle to the sun for a 24-hour period, there's an angle along the flat Earth surface to the GP of the sun. That's the point directly below the sun on the ground at 90 degrees to the sun. It's an angle. An elevation angle, specifically requiring two straight lines, one being the surface level. Because that's what they're measuring. Now, if they say they affirm that this is bent, then none of their measurements being called experiments were actually angles. Because that's two straight lines, one's the surface. As depicted here. Now, this isn't my depiction. This is just an angle being represented to the sun in pictorial form. It can only be represented one way. Notice how we don't have a wankerism curve in one of the lines that forms the angle, because then it won't be an angle. In other words, that's these bunch of cretins, either get on their knees and acknowledge the surface level that's flat that they measured and called an experiment, or they kick this to the curb and ask where the guns are. Yeah? So let's just get it summarised. Toon, you measured this. That's not a disputable. That's a fact. Toon measured these angles off of surface level. Facts. Indisputable flat Earth measurement facts. What's that? Where's the guns ain't gonna cut it, you cretin? Calling them experiments means you must stand by them. And if you stand by this angle, then you stand by the surface being measured flat. Like Toon was told 103 times. Literally.
and do this themselves.
I didn't need to. Not only did I not need to do it personally, one of your participants called me up while he was doing it and then went nuts when I pointed out he was measuring a flat earth. Like, literally bonkers, started screaming my name into the snow about guns. Like he forgot about all the forms he had to fill in to not get stopped at gunpoint. Suddenly that all got forgotten about because he was being asked about the flat earth measurements he was making, Duffy. You're calling them experiments, mate.
Prior to my announcement of the final experiment in early 2024, a vast majority of flat earthers, with very few exceptions.
How many of them got phoned from Antarctica? None of them. So this little straw man doesn't include the only flat earther called from Antarctica. It seems like a very egregious, burn him in hell kind of straw man lie that you're telling here. There's only one flat earther that was contacted, that you went out of your way to utilise the very expensive communication techniques you had available to you to get in touch with me personally. Now, I debunked this shit on screen 10 years ago, and it's been pointed out to one of the participants who took part and then also lied, Jaren. Yeah, Jaren was acutely aware, and when it was put to him during the lead-up to this garbage charade called an experiment, actually just a flat Earth elevation angle measurement session from the south, only measurable on a flat Earth, after travelling straight and level on a plane. Yet Jaren already knew this garbage was debunked, didn't he? But he didn't mention it either. Very shilly. Yeah? We did track the sun. We've already debunked this crap. And we pointed out the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that was being used on our behalf as a straw man by people like Duffy. But given that I'm the only flat earther contacted, you'd think that, given I'm not buying into this garbage that's being misrepresented by Duffy, that they'll actually take the time to not yell about guns and address the flat earth measurements. No, it's just the straw man, the only flat earther called from Antarctica, and what he did 10 years ago to debunk this shit, that doesn't get taken into consideration. Because all the other flat earthers, the ones that weren't called from Antarctica, oh, they'll definitely buy this. So how come the only one who got a phone call doesn't and debunked it 10 years before you went down there? And one of your number knew it and affirmed it live before you got there? Oh, yeah, it was only an hour out. Yeah, that's right, it was out. AKA wrong. Jaren knew. He affirmed it before he got there.
Promoted the Gleason's map of the world.
No, this is a straw man a lie. I hope you burn in hell. You're a Christian, right? It just warrants hell. Okay? That's where you belong. No. Do you want to go and check out the Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth Life? I mean, you went through my material and other people's material to find a comment from 8 years ago where I say that you'd be stopped at gunpoint. You know, I was proven correct. You bunch of dickheads. So you went and dug out a straw man so you could avoid answering the awful fact of you measuring Earth flat when put to you, in favour of a straw man from me. So you've obviously gone through 8 years of my comments, but you didn't notice the Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth where we debunked this crap, right? You found a comment saying that you'd be stopped at gunpoint. Turns out that was absolutely correct. Unless you go through the process that you all went through to stop that happening. To then say, where are the guns? Because you're idiots. Yeah? Meanwhile, you didn't find the Tracking the Sun. That seems a bit stupid. Comments about guns, yeah, you can find one obscure comment on a random video, but you can't find an entire playlist that's on my homepage. That seems a bit stupid. Seems like crap research to me. But yet you want to misrepresent the entire Flat Earth community based on what the rest of the people who weren't contacted from Antarctica have got to say about it according to you, Duffy. The lying shyster. The fraudster. Yeah?
Which is an azimuthal equidistant projection.
Of a globe. So it's globe versus globe in a North Pole azimuthal equidistant globe-centric projection. It's just Duffy's a shyster and a liar and holding up this straw man and saying that the flat Earth model he's claiming it is actually a globe projection might make him look like a disingenuous shyster who should burn in hell for his deceit. Yeah, that's exactly what it would make him look like, because he is a disingenuous lying shitbag who failed to mention this is a globe projection. Meanwhile, these lines from your globe projection are measured flat with Polaris, aren't they? So if we've got a North Pole-centric azimuthal equidistant projection that's utilising Polaris-based measurements, shouldn't we look at the measurements? Because the measurements are also stretched around a ball but incapable of being measured when these lines wrap around a ball. So I would suggest that given we definitely use latitude on a daily basis and you can only measure it flat, that means that we measure Earth flat for latitude. So that's it. That's the end of this discussion. If you're going to look at maps and models, you'd be better off presenting an actual flat Earth model rather than this globe projection, because you'll get called a shyster a deceiver, a liar. And based on your Christian background, I would suggest you are worthy of a trip to hell to burn for your deceit and failure to disclose the fact of your globe projection on screen being strawmanned as a flat earth projection I personally debunked 10 years ago with the help of Jaron, another shyster.
This map had the North Pole at the center.
Sorry, north, yeah, what, accurately represented in a horizontal orientation as north can only be. Yeah, that's right. North, you seem to have used when you describe travelling to Antarctica or Chile. So you'll be describing a flat earth only orientation and directionality when you say south or north. So there we go. So Earth's going to be measured flat for now, north, south, level trips to Antarctica, elevation angle measurements to the sun, and perpendicular planes of reference for weight. Everything you've done, literally everything Duffy has done for TFE, affirmed the flat earth that's been measured in all instances. There were no exceptions. Every measurement that was made was of a flat earth.
And pushed the south to the outer perimeter of the known world.
It's a map. An incorrect map that we debunked 10 years ago of a globe projection that utilises measurements of a flat earth with angles to Polaris.
This made Antarctica an ice wall perimeter.
No, it didn't. That's called a reification fallacy. The map is not the terrain. Hypothesization, the fallacy of misplaced concretedness. Misappropriating maps as the ground. No! Projecting out Antarctica on an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection puts Antarctica on the outside edge of the map when you project it azimuthal equidistant. Well, we don't live on an azimuthal equidistant projection, you stupid clown. That's a reification fallacy, you dum-dum.
Around all the world's continents, which served to hold in all the world's oceans.
It's a map! Nothing's holding in the world's oceans. Certainly not map. Maps don't hold in jack. Azimuthal North Pole-centric globe projections aren't containers, you clown.
As flat earthers claim, water must have a container.
Water must have a container so that you can contain it. But in terms of what a map will do, a map is not a container. So your straw man where you suggest flat earthers say my reification fallacy of a globe projection. No, what I say, the only flat earther contacted from Antarctica personally, what I say is you'll measure Earth flat for one of the systems using Polaris. That's what I say. Are there any other measurements? Do we measure latitude any other way other than on a flat earth? Because that's what I actually say. But this soon to be burning in hell, straw man burning asshole, lying shyster, deceiver, yeah, suggests that the model that isn't the world that we're standing on, that is the map of a globe projection, should be holding in water. Therefore what? When the sun's measured for 24 hours with angles of a flat earth, we won't have water needing containment? This is stupid.
It also extends the entire southern hemisphere.
Hemisphere is the flat plane angle measurement utilising Polaris to create a hemispherical view based on angles to the stars. If you are to measure a star at your horizon in a protractor, that's 0 or 180 on the protractor. If you are to measure a star at your zenith, that is 90 on a protractor. Now, just because there's a star capable of measuring at the horizon does not mean that star has smashed into the ground. In fact, it is planar. Not the ground, although it is. The sky is planar. That star measured at 1 degree above the horizon, or at 180 on the other side of the protractor, that star is above someone else's head where you're measuring it at the horizon. That is to say that that view that you create mathematically is hemispherical. But what you're actually measuring is a flat ground and a flat sky to then depict it through a protractor view. If you were to look at the sky like this diagram on screen and imagine that this is your location. Wrong diagram up. If you were to imagine that this was your location and you are measuring the sky flat, when the sun is at your zenith, it is at 90 degrees. When the sun is above this man's zenith, it's at 45 degrees. When you measure the sun at the horizon, it's still above next man in line zenith. It's still above him. But for you, measuring a perspective view through a protractor, you see it through the protractor at a given degree value, off a flat plane. So if you imagine all of the stars being viewed through a protractor from your vantage point, it creates a hemispherical view from your perspective. You're here, there's a star on the horizon and a star at your zenith. That doesn't mean the star's smashed into the ground, it's still above someone else if someone else is standing here. But that's the view, hemispherical, measured flat. So when Duffy starts talking about Earth being a sphere or the sky being a sphere, that is a bastardization after the fact when you measure Earth and sky flat with angles. Now, just because you can see angles through a hemispherical protractor doesn't mean the sky curves. It certainly doesn't mean the ground curves, because then you don't have a view through the protractor anymore. This is what Duffy is detailing. You in the centre of a flat, extended plane. When inside the globe, you can call it the equatorial plane. When it's extended beyond the globe, the flat plane that we measure, it's called the celestial plane. They're both flat planes, they're both where you measure angles, and they both start in hell, if you believe you're in a globe. Now, we're not measuring angles inside globes, we can't, but so that you can represent the protractor view of a flat plane and flat sky, you can pretend that the view of the sky is a hemisphere, the same one you measured it with a protractor. In reality, you've got a flat sky and flat ground, and you will never measure anything from hell. But that's the system that gets created for you numpties to believe you're standing on a surface that is created from within a globe, on a plane, measuring angles to stars like Polaris to create the systems like latitude. Measured flat. Earth is measured flat to create this hemispherical system being detailed by Duffy.
Into a larger and larger area, where on the globe, everything south of the equator gets closer and closer together.
Wrong. Duffy doesn't understand his own stupid, insane model. You're never on a globe measuring angles. You can't measure an angle from a curved surface. Curves don't give you angles. Where you do measure angles from is the flat plane depicted in a ball, because the ball is nothing more than a glorified protractor. That's how you acquire angles if you're going to reify models, which Duffy definitely does. Me, I can accurately and concisely describe the requirement for surface level being measured by tune. Sorry, what's that? Can you hear that? Where are the guns, Nathan? You lied! No, I didn't lie, you stupid dickhead. The Chilean government escorted a man away from Antarctica at gunpoint because he didn't have permission to be there like you clowns measuring angles off a flat Earth.
This made being at the southern tip of South America
is south. That's flat. Game over. If you're going to describe a directionality south, go and buy a compass, you batshit insane moron. Look at south. Point south. Does that look down to you? Do you not understand the difference between down and south, you stupid idiot? South is flat.
and in Antarctica, the perfect place to test flat Earth claims and also confirm the globe predictions.
But test flat Earth claims. Me saying you'll measure a flat Earth there 99 times before you arrived. Yeah, to Toon. I told him 99 times before he got there that he measured Earth flat with elevation angles. That's not me exaggerating. That's not Creaky Blinder saying I've told these flat earthers hundreds of times. That's literally, I've counted them. 99 times Toon got told that he'd be measuring a flat Earth. Not asked, not a claim, me telling him. Yeah? You understand? Now, it's not a shock to me that as soon as he got out his tools and started measuring the angles to the sun, he measured the same angles that I told him 99 times he'd measure off a flat Earth. It's the only way to measure them. They're elevation angles. They're only capable of measurement off a flat Earth. That's what they are. So it's not a shock that upon calling me proactively from the snow, the only flat earther who had such privilege, yeah, he got told for the 100th time, you're measuring a flat Earth with elevation angles to the sun. Yeah, that's what actually happened. It's not a prediction. It's me telling you, you measure Earth flat. That's not indeed in requirement of a response. What you want to do? Tell me that I'm right? You went and confirmed it after I told him 99 times. So you think the response to the 99th rendition of me saying you measure a flat Earth with elevation angles was to go and measure them in Antarctica? Because that's exactly what Toon did. If you want to suggest that you went there to affirm flat earthers' predictions. No, you had a false dichotomy that you strawmanned us with, that I debunked 10 years earlier. I just covered it 10 minutes ago. But what I did tell you in no uncertain terms, yeah, that was absolutely affirmed. I say 99 times, you measure Earth flat with angles, and then he measured Earth flat with angles and got a bit nuts when I pointed it out for the 100th time, live as he was doing it. Toon measuring a flat Earth, that is. Yeah, it sent him nuts. Do you remember? I'd like to know from you, Duffy. It's just a question. I'm asking for a friend. Did you hear my name echo around Antarctica? I'm asking for a friend.
Every single flat Earth claim failed.
Yeah, that might be the case. But the statement of fact that I made about measuring a flat Earth, they were never going to change, and there was no other thing to happen other than Toon measuring a flat Earth, and that's precisely what he did. That's why he went nuts. Again, asking for a friend. When he went nuts and started yelling about guns, feel free to check out the reports of the Chilean government escorting people off Antarctica. So he dispensed with his slight breakdown that he had when he deflected from the flat Earth measurements he'd heard about 99 times previously, and the 100th time broke him, to the point where he started yelling my name. I'm just asking, Duffy, did you hear my name? Because you would have been within a few yards of him yelling it into the Antarctic abyss. They made a song about it. You might have heard it. It's by Mr. Cheswick. It's quite catchy. Yeah? The sun is shining, he's alone, yelling into his iPhone, screaming at the top of his lungs, there's a 24-hour sun! Yeah, he measured that flat though, didn't he?
Every flat Earth prediction was demonstrably false.
But the measurements were flat. So, I mean, the predictions, who gives a crap about? Mystic Meg can make predictions over a crystal ball. Doesn't really mean much. But when I say as an absolute statement of fact that Earth can only and will only be measured flat 99 times to McToon, I wasn't in any way anticipating that that would suddenly change the 100th time I repeated it to him. And what do you know? He was literally measuring Earth flat as I said it for the 100th time when he called me from Antarctica and then yelled my name. So just for my mate, did you hear my name yelled, Duffy? I bet you did.
I made some predictions before they went. Do you remember what they were?
Remind us.
that every single measurement that they take will use a plane of reference.
Oh, well, that prediction came true. So Duffy's a liar. You're just a liar, Duffy. I hope you burn in hell for your deceit. It didn't take long. There's a person on the panel that just overturned your egregious lies that you like to tell your audiences. No, we made predictions about you measuring a flat Earth, and they came true. You did. Just asking for a friend. Did you hear my name yelled into the snow? I'll quote what was being yelled. He tried to deflect with measurements, end quote. It was yelled into the snow. You couldn't have been more than 10 yards away from him while he was screaming my name about the measurements that you were taking. He'd heard about it 99 times prior. I mean, you don't call that a prediction, but John here definitely made predictions that you'd measure Earth flat there. And you did, and then yelled my name into the snow about guns. So we dealt with the guns, yeah? Chilean government escorting people who aren't supposed to be there away with their guns.
The final experiments are meant to be taken collectively, just like evidence in a court of law.
Oh, really? This isn't a court of law, though. Sorry, it's Judge. Judge! Judge, you're a wanker. There's no judge here, Duffy. Are you insane? Are you seeing things? Are you hallucinating juries, man? There's no judge. There's no jury. There's just me telling Toon 100 times that he measured Earth flat. There's just John predicting that he'd measure a flat Earth there. And you did. Yeah, there's no judge. There's no jury. It's just us. We're judging you, and so will God when he condemns you to hell for your deceit.
Undoubtedly, flat earthers will attempt...
Sorry, you interrupted the straw man fallacy that he was about to use. Undoubtedly, flat earthers will... Let's just hear his straw man.
...to discredit individual experiments we did.
No, we're leaning into them. I'm saying you either deny the flat Earth elevation angle measurement that you measured and called an experiment, or you kick that shit to the curb. That would be your experiment gets kicked to the curb, the one that you measured Earth flat with and called an experiment incorrectly. You can either kick it to the curb, or as we are doing, lean into it. Yeah, we're not discrediting it. I was literally on the phone with one of the people measuring them, telling him that it's a flat Earth. His response, quote, he tried to deflect with measurements. Which measurements would those be? The ones that you were making at the time of a flat Earth and calling an experiment, Duffy? I hope you burn in hell. That's where you belong. Hell. Yeah, John.
It's not.
Or Adam.
Well, there was two bits I wanted to make. I know you're going around. On top of John's prediction, there was also Brian's request. And wherever they flew to, because they didn't bother tracking it themselves, they flew there with straight and level flight. So that amazing distance that they went was across a flat plane as demonstrated by the pitch data. So wherever you went, whatever you saw, and I'm not one that says you didn't see it, as you like to say, you've got the testimony of a few people. Good on you. But wherever you went, whatever you saw, you travelled across a flat plane to get there. And we can evidence that. Yeah? And when you did get there, what we thought was a straw man turned out, apologies to me, Toon, to be a reasonable request. Who did have the guns? Who was going to stop? We didn't know back then, but we do now. It's the Chileans.
He also said the final experiments, plural. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Or was I hearing that wrong?
No, you're not hearing that wrong.
That's them again strawmanning that taking an elevation angle measurement off a flat plane is somehow now to be convoluted with the term experiment. It's how ill-informed they are.
And last but by no means least, he's suggesting that we would disavow their non-experiments, actually flat Earth measurements as flat earthers. Wrong. We're saying, well done. And I personally told one of the participants while he was making the measurements. Didn't I? There's a song made about it. Maybe you missed it.
Yeah,
well, at the same
but how
time,
many
ignoring the
final
rest.
Experiments. There's only can be It's like the Highlander. There can be only one. Why is that pluralized?
Because McDuffie is a cretin, an idiot, a numpty, a fool, an unreasonable tosspot who thinks that he can pluralise something that's described as being final. He's a wanker. There's no other words for it. A stupid moron.
It's a trademark.
From the Bible reading heathen over here. There's a bit I pulled out, Neil, which I thought was quite applicable here from Romans 16, verses 16 to 18. Can I just quickly read it?
Yes, please.
Just a heads up. Salute one another with a holy kiss. The churches of Christ salute you. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offences contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Jesus Christ, but their own belly, and by good works and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. Romans 16 to 18.
Right, we've got Awake Souls in the chat saying, we predicted it to 100th of a degree per second. Good on you. So you're predicting the flat Earth elevation angle measurements that they'd be making and got them right. Okay, absolutely outstanding. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's people like Ronnie and Jason. Have I got their names right this time? Hopefully I have. I don't want to offend them. That have been hanging around, and it's only since Jaron's come out as an egregious shill that you've come on my radar again. In other words, it's like, hang on a second. I do remember Jaron casting aspersions on those two characters. Yeah? Why? Well, it's probably because, like us, they were onto something, that they're doing good work. Now, I also remember all the nastiness that people pour on them and us, because it's done for a reason. The people who are actually dedicating their time to this subject, like us, like them, Awake Souls and... can someone just remind me of their names? It is Jason and Ronnie, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, right. They should be on here. They should be joining us, right? They should be on the show. We should be interacting with each other more. They've been doing it 10 years, like we have. Now, I'd like to say the same things about people like Dell, but Dell seems like a shill too. A shill for Upward Rising Earth.
Deceivers, sowers of confusion.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I've never had any beef with those two. Have you ever had beef with Jason and Ronnie?
Not beef. I've disagreed with the...
That's not what I mean. I've had plenty of disagreements. I disagree with fundamentally a lot of what they do. That's not what I mean.
No, but then no.
Right. They're just people doing what they do, and where we would disagree is a similar vein to us disagreeing with someone like Arwin, right?
Yeah.
Right. But they're not calling us shills. They're not calling us scammers. If they disagree with us, they're going to disagree on principle of argumentation rather than whether or not I beat my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully they'll make an appearance. Hopefully we'll see some of them on the show. They're obviously up there in our chat. I want to see more people who are previously on the fringes of Flat Earth come together. It's like, I see you. Right? I'm looking at you, Ronnie, and going, you used to be fat. Why have you got so fit and I've got so fat? The world's not fair. No, that's not what I really want to ask. But the point is that they've been around doing the do, right? Just doing what they're doing. Well, I want to now prop my head above the precipice, if that's the right word, once the dust is settled from TFE, and go, who's still looking around? Do you remember me talking about this as the Dust Bowl example while TFE was going on? Going, after it ends, we'll be looking around going, who's still around? There'll be people who reveal themselves as shills from within the dust, and there'll be people on the outskirts of the dust looking in, eating peanuts, going, well, this is interesting. And then you suddenly look around to the periphery of the Dust Bowl and go, oh, hello, I remember you. Yeah, you've been here 10 years too, haven't you?
There was another prediction overlooked.
What was that?
He said that I predicted the downward vector they would use for every weight scale they used.
That was the first experiment that he did. That was the thing that compelled me to go live, because I didn't feel it was a sufficient response to just point out that they're levelling their tool perpendicular to the plane of reference to then weigh something. Any more for any more?
Yeah, I might say something before you go. Yeah, just so the audience know, Adam brought it up earlier, but Adam just gave a quick kind of summary. It wasn't actually the correct summary. No offense to Adam, I don't expect people to remember it every time. I contacted Will Duffy before any of this happened, and I said, at the time we didn't have the pitch data of any pitch data from commercial airliners, and I said, why don't you get the pitch data from two well-known companies of two long-haul flights? You know, just a few hours even, right? And that'll prove or disprove whether it's a globe or if it's flat, right? And I made a video especially for him, and I sent it to him via email, and he came back to me and said that he wouldn't watch my video or address anything that was in it or anything that I said until I agreed to some heap of nonsense.
Don't push past that. Don't just push past that. The heap of nonsense that he wanted you to concede to, I remember quite distinctly. He wanted you to concede that if they see a 24-hour sun in the Antarctic region, that it debunked the azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection, and that if you were to concede to this position, he would then study your video. That's what he asked you for.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew it had something to do with the email. Yeah, so I just ignored him after that and just made a video pointing out that he refused to watch the video because under conditions. Now, he did address the video and address the pitch data quite extensively since then, after the TFE, but he didn't want to know about it. Because my point to him was, this is not going to work. I said, what you're trying to do, it doesn't matter if you see a 24-hour sun. To someone like me, that means nothing. That's not going to change anything for me. Maybe someone else, but not for me. Whereas pitch data absolutely proves it's data straight from a commercial airliner, and whether it's flat or whether it's slope. And he didn't want to know. So he didn't want to do anything that would prove or disprove. He only wanted something that would somehow prop up some ridiculous belief he has. That's all he wanted. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Perfect. Any more for any more?
Another one.
Oh, yeah, sorry, John.
Okay.
Sorry, just at the end of that. Sorry, just for those who don't know, we did get that data, and it proves it's flat. Sorry, thanks, John.
Oh yeah, no problem. I was going to say another prediction I believe was if you measure the elevation angle of the sun above the horizontal plane of reference for 24 hours, then the Earth is a horizontal plane of reference.
Yes.
That's
the prediction, if you want to call it a prediction. I mean, it's just a statement of absolute fact that doesn't need affirming. But yeah. They did measure the plane of reference for angles to the sun for 24 hours. Therefore, Earth is a plane of reference as measured.
Well, actually, their measurements, although they were flat Earth measurements, the actual measurements themselves are in question. The reason they are is because I pointed out that the coordinates given for the two camps don't match. They don't match the position of the mountain, and they don't match the elevation between the two camps. So you couldn't even trust, let's just say if they said there was a 13-degree angle or a 20-degree angle, you couldn't trust any of that because the coordinates can't be trusted. So, but the measurements would be a flat Earth measurement.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's win-win for us. So your flat Earth measurements aren't accurate enough to call experiments. Go away and get us the coordinates that are also only capable of description with respect to a flat plane. We're talking about coordinates, aren't we? Yes, we are. So that'll be a flat plane reference that you go and dig out to get it more accurate for your flat plane elevation angle measurements that weren't quite accurate enough. Okay? So then we can study whether or not they're flat Earth. No, that's a given. Either you get on your knees and acknowledge the Earth that you've measured flat, or you relinquish your so-called experiment using flat Earth measurements. I don't care which you do. It's just measured fact. This isn't contestable. It's a statement of absolute fact. Right, any more for any more? Last call. No? With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Good show. Whoops. I'm going to make a thumbnail. Hopefully you'll all chit-chat while I do so. The whole point of us covering that was to discuss how it was on the Celebrate Truth channel, and we never really did. We just covered Duffy and what he's saying. But yeah, that's nuts that, you know, Celebrate Truth's gathered up all these Christians together just like Jaren. Jaren's gathered the non-Christians, and Celebrate Truth have gathered the Christians. I mean, we're going to see 24/7 streams from Jaren's channel too, about TFE.
Is that I missed the first hour of the show? Is that what's after happening there?
What we covered was on Celebrate Truth channel, Robbie Davidson's channel.
Wow. How is he ever going to look in the mirror again? At himself.
I don't think they care. These people are just ruthless. They don't care.
Yeah, I think if you know that you're telling lies and you're deceiving for years on end, and then it comes out that you were doing it, that's like your big crescendo, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like that is your thing. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to fool the masses. You wanted to be that person. You wanted to be seen as someone who was supposedly really clever or something. I don't know what it is you're supposed to be seen as. I don't consider it clever or intelligent, but obviously they consider that there's benefit to this. Personally, I don't get that. For me, I don't get it. It's like, I don't get why you're going to spend years to see. Because like Robbie Davison, wasn't something but Robbie Davison. In my opinion, that was a brand new thing. Like he was dodgy for years. You know what I mean? With some of the stuff he was doing and his decision making and things that he didn't do, and it's like the guy was dodgy for years. So that means there was years in the making. He was like being dishonest for years, willingly. What is going on inside that guy? I don't know. I don't know what the benefit is of that. It's not money. There's other ways to get money. Do you know what I mean? There's something else going on there, something darker within that person.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Patricia Steer is a bit of another one of those in some ways. Now, Paul on the plane, not so much. But Patricia Steer was acting strange for years as well. But Robbie Davison, like, I don't know. I was never attracted to having any connection to him, having nothing to do with him. He was just another person who was supposedly a flat earther. That was all I knew about him. I don't remember anything he said or did that really mattered, but he had the Christian ear, and that was the thing. And he knew that the flat earth was full of Christians, you know, and he had the Christian ear. I think it was more against the Christians. It was more an anti-Christian. That was his purpose, and that was his buzz. That's what he got off on. Like he got off. That was his big finale. Getting off on lying to all the Christians. That was his thing. A false pastor, a false leader, false pseudo messiah. You that kind of a person? You know, they love that. At least Jim Jones, right, was just crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, look at the effort they've put in. Go on, sorry.
I was just Brian. Do you remember when you stated some of these shills were probably what do you call it? Threatened to shill, like they are threatened. Maybe they had something. The government had.
No, I don't
something
remember
on
any of
them?
that. Go on, Nathan. You speak away. I don't remember saying any of those things.
Oh, you did. You said something along that lines. Anyway, I don't give a shit what
Oh,
you
so I
think
didn't say
anymore.
exactly that then. So I didn't say exactly that then. So I didn't make any actual statement of fact because I wouldn't have had any facts to make. Sorry, Nathan. Yeah.
Don't drag me into this.
That's it. That's the end of that, lawyer. Yeah.
Look, he was just trying to set you up in a position where you'd suggested that they might have been threatened. What's wrong with that? Can't you just go along with it?
Yeah,
Brian,
remember
I'm
Nathan
sorry
when
about that.
you said that they. Remember Nathan when you said that they had captured a little girl off the street and threatened her life if they didn't turn away from flat Earth. Remember you said that, Nathan?
For the sake of this leading into a discussion where you want it to go, Brian, absolutely I remember that. I mean, I definitely didn't say that, but I mean, maybe I hinted at it.
Brian, maybe I
Well,
misconstrued
you
that.
said
I'm sorry
something
about
like that, Nathan.
Brian.
So I'm going to say
Brian.
you said that.
I've hinted at that before,
Brian, do
though.
you remember you saying something about maybe they have something hanging over their heads? Do you remember saying that? Something like that? That's what I meant. I'm sorry. I didn't want to come off as saying, oh, you stated as fact. I'm sorry. Okay? Like, I really liked you, Brian. I like your work and everything. I just, I didn't mean to say
you're not.
statement.
Please, just stop talking, Patterson. Just stop talking.
But I
Just
agree
stop.
with him. I
With
past
the lies.
tense. I liked you
Okay,
too, Brian.
so you guys don't want me to talk. Okay,
I didn't
that's
say
fine. I'm a member and everything. That's okay.
that. I didn't say that. Everyone's welcome.
Wait
Yeah,
a
you did,
second.
Nathan.
Is that come to Navarone?
Yeah, blame me for
Yeah, no.
whatever nonsense you were getting ready to throw on Brian. Just put it on me because I don't really care. Maybe I did hint at the fact that maybe they're saying what they're saying because they're under duress. I've said that multiple times. Go ahead with it.
There you go. Go on, Guns. Off you go.
Hi, John. Yeah, you possibly mentioned that, but like it's sort of I don't know, maybe a common sense that maybe some of them were under duress, had criminal records, or just something. I'm just suggesting that, just from what I've heard in the past. I'm sorry, I didn't want to put it on anybody specifically, but to be honest, whether you guys don't trust me or not, I am an authentic flat earther, and I know it's flat and stationary. And I've been around for 10 years. I can't help that I worked for the government for 37 years. That's not my fault. I'm a truth seeker. I'm a realist, right? There's a lot of good people that work in bad areas. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
Listen,
Anyway,
do you know what's
go ahead.
funny? Do you know what's funny?
Were you in the Bronx?
What's funny is
Suspect.
Bronx.
Interesting. It's an interesting defense that's being postulated. Nobody's like taking a dislike to you because it's flat and stationary, or even suggesting that you don't genuinely think that. The reason people have a problem is that you come in here and you instantly strawmanned Brian. Nobody's going to tolerate that here. Yeah? Putting false words into one of the other people's whose ears mouths won't be tolerated. It'll be ridiculed like it just was, and pointed out politely that what you were doing is unacceptable.
I apologize for that. I'm really sorry about that.
Aaron Muff.
Here his disc.
Are you sort of pulled over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
This is the time.
Brian. Hey, Brian, I just wanted to apologize to you. Okay.
This is the time.
I followed you.
I
for
don't
10
want your
years.
apologies not accepted. Not accepted. Not accepted.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Is this the time? Is this the
You are
time
one
where we
stubborn
all give
potato, I tell
tons
you.
of macaron attention, and he waffles on for the whole after show, and nothing gets
Sorry, pot kettle. We watched your show, by the way, Brian, in the pre-show. We watched all the way through.
I meant for you just to watch it. I didn't mean it to be something that you'd watch on the show. Either way, did you like it?
I'll never get that time back. No, it's great. There was only 2 points that I criticised it, and one was at the 17-minute mark, where you finally got to the point where you're like, none of this can take place unless we measure Earth flat. And I paused it. I'm like, finally, 17 minutes in.
Yeah, but you know me with details and stuff. I like to put in as much stuff as possible. What was the other critique?
I can't remember. It was something very minor. Very, very minor, right towards the end. I can't remember what it was. Oh, that was it. It was a similar sort of critique, which is to say that by the time you'd gone through it all, so I gave you a fair crack before interjecting, you'd kind of done what QE gets a bit of criticism now after the fact with the Black Swan, which isn't that it's bad or anything. It's that you to entertain them, you've had to give them so much stuff that can't function on a ball, and you're giving it them working on a ball so that they can feel like you've been fair to them. Now, it's not that that's wrong. It's like QE giving them everything they could possibly ask for. Okay, we'll beg the question with you. Okay, we'll give you that. We're going to ignore surface level measurements for height and all this stuff. We'll give you all of this so that you can be shown how it doesn't work, even when we give you all of that stuff. The mountain's still higher. It's still flat, even with all the exceptions I give you. That's basically what my criticism was. Look at all the exceptions Brian's got to give his opponent just to have the discussion, to then show them where they're wrong. Because their starting point is all of these assumptions that prove a flat Earth. Make sense?
Yeah, I know, but look, that's what it was. That's what it had to be. Because the diagram I showed from Petey, remember that one from Petey where they're using parallel verticals and a horizontal plane at the start? That was him trying to respond to me showing their claim in the correct format geometrically, just like I did with the end of that video, in other videos connected to similar things, right? And I know I waited right to half an hour nearly to get there, or 25 minutes or whatever it was. But once I showed it, it was like, yeah, this cannot work. And the only way to show it not working for them is to show it. And if I just go through it, if you imagine, if I just go through that whole thing in basic detail, well, it's just going to be like going through just how a measurement works. I couldn't even call it a flat versus globe video, because it would just be, and the person does this, and they look with their camera that way, and this is the horizontal plane, and these are vertical heights above the horizontal plane, and that's all it would be. Do you know what I mean? There wouldn't be anything in it. I wouldn't have addressed globe at all. To do what I had to do, I had to address globe to show how it doesn't work, and to show how they're in a position now where they're denying how Mick West correctly shows the globe paradigm. Let's say in an orthographic form. On his side, he shows with a tangent like how much is hidden, right? As something has gone over the curve. That's exactly what I show. And I show how it doesn't work for reality. Because in reality, that's not what we're seeing. End the story. I also make the point that they don't have, I never address their claim 7 over, greater than 7 over 6. Or I don't go into that at all because it's not real. I only address the claim geometry that they don't have. That's all I do.
Yeah,
just like Mick West.
Speaking of real, he said he was a realist, right? Well, realism was debunked decades ago by quantum mechanics. So you got a problem there too.
When you say realism was debunked, the only context I've heard realism is an artistic context. Are you saying there's a quasi-scientific context to realism that was debunked by quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it's a philosophy, realism.
Realism
know
is a
what it is?
philosophy. Oh, no, I mean, maybe I am familiar. I'm just not putting two and two together.
There is no tree.
That's quantum mechanics. Well, no, that's
Well,
not realism.
kind
That's quantum mechanics. But what's realism? I'm just going to look it up.
No, that's not. There is no tree is not quantum mechanics. That there is no tree is there is no tree. Quantum mechanics is something. Realism
It's like
is
the
a
ghost in the
philosophy.
machine.
Say again.
Realism
the ghost in the
is a
machine.
philosophy. Hello. Yeah, it views that matter and energy exist independent of mind.
Naturalism.
Realism in philosophy is the view that certain things exist independently of being perceived or thought about by a mind.
Yep.
Yes, so absolutely. So never a true statement. Quantum mechanics at a fundamental level debunks that. Because without knowledge, you don't have the matter. It doesn't exist.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That information.
So people flippantly say, well, I'm a realist. And I just sit back and snicker. They really don't know what it means.
Well, I didn't.
Okay.
Well, I didn't till 20 seconds ago.
So you're the poster child.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm happy to admit my ignorance all day long.
I know that. The irony is that realists don't live in reality.
Well, no, they just don't comprehend that they have a causal influence that, well, at a base level, knowledge of which path collapses the wave function is a principle that debunks realism at its core. John, you couldn't have said it more concisely. I've just butchered it, but you said it very concisely. I've forgotten the statement you made. Can you say it again? Just something like realism's debunked by quantum mechanics, I think you said. Something like that.
Which John? Are you talking to me?
Yes, you, QE. What was the statement
you want me to do again?
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know. 20 seconds ago, I was entirely ignorant of this entire subject.
What do you want me to do? I didn't hear you.
Don't worry about it. Who cares? Bloody realist.
How are you going to be ignorant of the subject when one of his first opening statements in any of the the presentations he's given says that philosophical naturalism, aka realism, aka materialism, is debunked by quantum mechanics?
Never really sunk in. That's a philosophy and worldview when it's being stated that way. As in what the implications therein are, and unless you know what philosophical naturalism, or in this case, it's the same thing, but realism is, you don't know what it isn't when someone says that it isn't that. And how it's been debunked by quantum mechanics is kind of inconsequential if you don't know what it is at its core. The implications are irrelevant to me. Until about 60, maybe 90 seconds ago. Now it's quite important, as is such things in life. You find them out and go, wow, that really does actually make a difference to my worldview. Or would have done if I hadn't been aware of quantum mechanics.
That's all amazing. Did you shamelessly plug my show today?
Not at all. I'm really sorry. I could barely keep my eyes open.
A little narcolepsy going on in there, huh?
Just tired. Just really tired.
Do you even sleep? You and Brian over there. Is it something in the water?
Very little. Brian copes a lot better than I do, though.
Yeah, Nathan's up after a few hours posting microphones left, right, and centre and stuff like that.
Yes, I am, yeah. Ultimately, I'm always on the road at 9 o'clock or something like that to take one of the kids to a lesson or a class or something. Today was art.
9 o'clock in the morning, your time. What's that my time? Is that -6?
Something like that. 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning. Jeez. Good luck with that.
And not to go back to what we were talking about, how many comments did Brian have in the video that you watched?
I can guess if it had 100 views, it's probably got the same number of comments. Do you want me to look?
It's insane. I don't get that.
It's got... Oh my God. That's just nuts. Okay, so the video has had 1,200 views, 1,205 listed views. It has had 544 comments. That's nuts.
Now you know why I do things the way I do. that is
That's a lot of pain.
Not able to handle it. Yeah,
That's a lot of pain right there.
Yeah, mostly it's all ballers. You could say that's 90+% ballers, maybe more. Technically, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I get more support off the ballers than the flat earthers. The ballers like my channel more than the flat earthers because, well, they hate my channel.
I was going to say they love to hate you.
Yeah. And that is not that's not an anomaly. That is constant. Like actually, I thought there'd be more comments than that on that one. To be honest, because I have had videos where the comments went past the views within a few days.
Right.
Yeah. Even the ballers have been pointing it out. They even make jokes. I mean, once or twice they made jokes. They left comments saying that the comments on this video have now surpassed the views. You know, from the amount of comments. Even they recognize it.
What is the deal with Robbie Davidson? Is he literally given his channel over to Duffy?
Remember the GIMP in
Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember the guy who gets shot in the nuts? That's probably that's Will Duffy. The GIMP, well, that's probably Robbie Davidson.
So, Robbie Davidson's the GIMP, and Will Duffy's Zed.
No, Zed is MC2 because Zed has got black hair. He's the biker guy. Will Duffy's the guy, the cop guy, the dodgy cop guy.
I thought he was Zed. Isn't the cop guy the guy who
Zed's
turns
not
up on
the biker. Zed's the biker guy or the black-haired guy. That's not Zed. He didn't have black hair.
Zed's the cop.
That is Zed, the other guy. Yeah, the other guy. The guy with the pump-action shotgun when the two of them are fighting. That's Zed. That's his motorbike. The cop is not driving around on a Harley Davidson.
Oh, okay. Looks like the spider's caught himself a couple of flies.
It's down in their basement that the Howard pipe hitting guys are coming from.
Is that what pipe hitting means?
There's some hard pipe hitting surveyors down in that basement.
Surveying holes.
Oh boy.
Did you say you're doing some fletching with your arrows?
Not yet. Don't have the arrows and don't have the fletchings just yet.
Yeah, fletching's got an alternative meaning. You might want to look it up.
Did Marcellus Wallace get fletched in that skit
No,
we were just talking about?
No.
What's the alternative meaning there, Sunshine?
It's too filthy to broadcast.
I think the E and the L is the other way round in what you're describing.
Stop mumbling.
Adam probably knows what it means too then.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
It's too filthy
But
to say.
the E
Please
and the
don't
L
say
are the
it.
other way around.
Don't say it.
I'm not saying it, but yeah.
We wouldn't have heard it anyway because you got rumpus.
Good. I thought he was saying it.
Saving his show. It was a healthy rumpusing.
You can tell him after. Right, we all took it out then, or what?
Well, I was just going to tell QE for the book. There was an old school video that was coming up with a few bits and bobs like citing NASA and stuff, that the Earth's flat and stuff. So I found the document. I've sent it to QE. Just so we can use it as aggressive citation in the book. So for straight and linear flight. So I've got flying over a flat non-rotating Earth and definition of initial conditions for straight and level flight.
Those are old timey.
Yeah, proper old timers, but I've never had them. But I've sent you the actual PDF of the document now, so we've got it, so we can use it.
I think I used to have it a long time ago.
Of what, the NASA one?
Yeah, the PDF. I used to have. I bet you I got it somewhere.
Wasn't it released like as like a disclosure thing? Like after 50 years of having it under wraps, they have to disclose it all, like in the 90s or something.
Yeah, it was something like that.
What a revelation! Can you imagine?
FOIA.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
I was going to say you're talking about FOIA, but it has to be directly asked for. So it could stay top secret forever if nobody asks for it.
I don't know if it was Freedom of Information though, because I don't think did Freedom of Information Act even exist in the 90s. I don't think it did.
National security did though. So
in any event, for whatever reason, the documents made their way into the public domain. But I'm just imagining what it'd be like as a flat earther back in the 90s to first come across those sorts of documents and have limited means on message boards on the old school internet on dial-up to pass the information on. And it had just been met with the exact same ridicule from globeheads, just in message boards and forums rather than on live streams. What they actually mean is globe-shaped when they say stationary and flat. That's what you'd have got on the forums.
That's exactly what you still get. That's exactly what you still get. Even another thing from NASA, NASA says treating the Earth as flat, stationary, and non-rotating. Bob, the science guy, that's just a model they had from back in 1980 something. It's just a model or some nonsense he comes up with. It's like, that's not a defense. You know what I mean?
No, it's just a model of a flat Earth they were using back then. Yeah, okay. And that's a defense because...
Exactly. It's not a defense. Like, so NASA waste their time with things that are a waste of time. Is that what you're telling us? No, I don't think so. I think Eddie Banjo actually is it Eddie Banjo? I think it's Eddie Banjo. He has all the PDFs and statements from the likes of Boeing and Lockheed Martin. There's a whole list of them. There's a whole host of them. It's not just from NASA.
I get the distinct impression whenever I watch Flat Earth USA, Japan, Brazil channel that he might be a Freemason. Does anybody else get that impression?
You're putting the Freemason thing back on Eddie, are you?
I don't know. He does strike me as a bit of a Freemason. He does talk about it quite a lot. How do you like it, Eddie? I am not a Freemason. I am not a crook.
You're suspect.
Yeah, I'll let him know at the lodge. That's what it's called, right? The lodge.
Can't wait till December.
Have you? I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on air about that. QE, Brian filled me in on a little ruse that you've got going. I think it's absolutely genius.
Can you let me know about it?
Can't wait till December.
Yeah, I don't know if we should talk about it or not, to be honest with you on there.
Oh no. We can't talk about it on air because you got to build the excitement. So it's like Rogaine
and the rocket ship.
People got to. Right.
Steam powered.
Yeah, we should talk about it on the after show. We should talk about it then, for sure. We're all here. We have Adam and everybody.
We're in the after show.
We are in the after show, yeah. I'm going to round out.
Yeah, the after.
Right, with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I think that's been it. Is there anything else I need to mention? I don't need to plug QE's show because it's not live, but I don't know if you are watching after the fact. Once this has gone up, you might want to check out QE's channel if you're watching as a member. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
I'm not bothered.
Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't actually press stop then. Okay, right, go ahead. So we're carrying on. So it didn't. I rolled the outro credits, and now we're still recording. But that's fine.
It'll be a non-start now. When I read that section from Romans earlier, there's a reason, and that's to apply to this. His own church is now questioning him. Yeah, rightly so. You just don't flip-flop like this, having held positions, without then being able to present an equally strong position for your flip-flopping. You look at it here, look. And then commenting on what you were saying in terms of he's just giving his channel over. So Joe Redmond, bro, give it up. Can't believe you're legit trying to make a platform out of being an ex-flat earther. You're cooked, my guy. Just bow out gracefully. And this is the one I liked. Fernando Johnson. Robbie has yet to answer how his one scriptural reference to creation has now become obsolete in his views. This is quite troubling as it contradicts claims to his being a believer of God's word. NASA seems to have taken control of his thinking. Quite telling. Yeah, I'm sure there's more if we scroll, but why doesn't he answer it himself? So, you know. But that was my point. It's not just us. And like I say, the reason I read the Romans bit is to warn. The Bible warns you about people like this.